Hello guys, this is Mr. Dean with Learning Through Games, and today we're going to look at developing pieces and in particular developing the rook. Now a lot of times when I'm teaching kids chess, I go in and look at your guys' games and I see something like this. Now actually this is pretty good, the twin towers to E and D pawn, but then the game might be more like that. And then the kids will call me over and say, Mr. D, look at this game. And I'll be like, yeah, it's okay. But you shouldn't move just pawns. You want to get your pieces out. And when you say develop pieces in chess, you mean non-pawns. And you also don't want to move the same thing over and over. So let's go back. And let's say we start with this move. Good developing so far, but remember, this lesson is about the rooks. And now, can we develop our rook now? Well, the best way to develop the rook in the beginning of the game is to castle. That's how you do it. It protects the king and develops the rook. It gives it a chance to make it better. Why is castling a good way to develop the rook? Well, for the reasons I just mentioned, and also eventually you might be able to get your rooks connected. So look at how in black castles the rooks are now connected. They can fight better when they're connected, and you'll see an example of that later in this discussion. Going back though, it is not a good idea to move your rooks out the side. For one, they can get taken a lot of time by the bishop. And for two, this doesn't protect the king. And we know it's bad to move side pawns for reasons that it doesn't control the center. So castle your rook in the beginning of the game. Now let's look at something else. What would you say is the best move here for white? Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Okay. Actually, it probably wouldn't be white's move here, but if it were your move, castling would be best. That would be the best move for white, to just simply castle. Okay? And let's take a look at another one. Now, both sides have castled, but we still want to make rooks better. We still want to make our pieces better. So once you're castled, how can you make the rook better? Well, that's pretty easy. You want to move your rook to an open file. An open file is a file like that where there are no colored pawns on it, white or black. That's an open file. Look at that move. Right now, this rook is on a closed file because there's two different color pawns, and he moves to an open file. It's good because a lot of things, you control the file, and a lot of things might come in your way to take. I mean, they could move their queen there. Now you might say, but Mr. Dean, why would they move their queen there? Well, I know, but people make mistakes, and you're not going to take this queen if you're sitting here on the closed file. The only chance you'll get to luck out is if you go to the open file. So this move, rook to b1, would just be moving the rook to a closed file. Now, if this pawn were gone, let's say we're off the board or something, this file would now be a half-open file. A half-open file is a file where there's only one color pawns. All right, let's go to another one. Okay, now let's just say that we're white's move, and white moves to an open file. And actually, a good move for black might be to contest that open file. Say, hey, I get the file. But let's say black just moved here. What would be a good move to make your rooks even better here if you were white? Pause the video if you need to. Okay, if you said white should move to the 7th rank, you are correct. This is the 7th rank, or the second to last rank if you're white. That is how you would make your rook better. Why is the 7th rank so good? Well, it's usually where the enemy pawns are and you're threatening them. And it's also right above usually where the enemy king is. So the enemy king can't come up at any time. That's what makes it so powerful. And look at this. Let's say they offered a trade here. Well, you were threatening the pawn. You could just take it. However, let's go back and say that this, oops, you move to an open file, and this rook were already guarding that pawn. Still, the 7th rank is very good because now that rook is kind of paralyzed and can't move away from the pawn. They could offer you a trade, but then you would just move your other rook behind it and say, go ahead and trade. I'll put my rook right back down there. So going on the 7th rank can many times weaken other people's pieces. Now, what's better than going on the 7th rank? Oh, 7th heaven. If you get both rooks on the 7th rank. I've hardly ever seen 7th heaven where the person doing it loses the game. And if you reverse the board, what is better for black? Well, to get both rooks on the 2nd rank. 2nd heaven. 7th heaven is just heaven when you get it. It's so awesome. Let me just kind of get a position where I might get 7th heaven. I'll play some kind of silly moves here. Something like this. You move that rook over, and then there's 7th heaven. Look at that move. You're threatening this and this. It's just very hard to handle, and many times leads to a great checkmate. Okay, guys, so just to review, how you make your rook better in the beginning, you castle, then you move it to an open file, and then you get to the 7th rank if you can, and then if you're real lucky, you can get 7th heaven. All right, we'll see you soon, guys. Thanks for listening.